Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to this week's edition of Imperial One's Belonging series, where we explore and have candid conversations about the lived experiences of individuals from the Black, Asian, and minority ethnic communities. It's been a beautiful journey having these conversations with so many wonderful people who have challenged us to have shared their stories, shared their experiences, and helped us to gain a better understanding what it means to belong. And this week, I haven't told a lie to date, and I maintain my 100% record that we've got another special guest. And that special guest this week is Debra Babalola. And Debra is a young graduate. I put it here as a co-founder of DotPlot, but I'm going to allow her to give us an indication of what DotPlot is because I think it's an amazing idea. Um, Deborah, I want to just say a big thank you for being our guest this week. And I'm going to kick off by asking the usual question, which is, can you tell me what it was or what it is that as you were growing up gave you your sense of identity, sense of belonging, um, as you were growing up?
Yeah, absolutely. No, first of all, yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. Really appreciate it. Very exciting. Um, so I grew up Southeast London, born and raised, and I grew up pretty much in a very Christian household. So we did a lot of church activities. We were heavily involved in just different things that were going on in that space. And to be completely honest, that was really my source of like belonging and identity as a child. So I definitely found my roots being developed from the church when I was quite young. And it was just being around such like-minded other young people from different families, different backgrounds, similar backgrounds, similar families, and just finding that sort of togetherness, fellowship within that space, and feeling very welcome in it as well. So that was a good rooting and establishment as a young person, and definitely carries its way throughout my journey, my life.
So for you, the church played a big role in helping to shape your identity.
Yeah,
In what sense? In what sense did it help to shape your identity?
I
What was it that looking back now you think, yeah, that was really good?
I'd probably say being rooted in the church kind of gave you a sense of identity that went beyond, say, like your achievements or what
Hmm.
you do. It was more just knowing that you are loved by God and by these people around you.
Hmm.
So it was I mean, you kind of just felt at home. You felt at
Hmm.
home. I think you could be you were just learning about so many different things as you were growing up, but it was all within that context
Hmm.
of living life, for God because you've been created by Him and for Him for a good purpose.
Hmm.
And it just makes you so, I guess, focused on using your life for good from a very,
Right.
very young. We
Hmm.
are here to be mucking about. We're here to yeah, I guess make good use of ourselves, the time that we've got, and value it.
And so it gave you purpose. It helped to provide you with a purpose.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what was it like for you in school then? Because here you've got that dynamic of you being a purpose-driven person, as it were. What was it like for you then when you were in school? What was that like?
School was an interesting one. So school was where I started to feel a bit like, okay, so it's not everyone is like these church people that I'm around. Okay, that's fine. But it was good. It was good exposure. I think school was different to that because everyone is coming from such different, I guess, faiths or backgrounds or beliefs, opinions. It's very easy for you to try and kind of fit in with what your peers are like or with who's around you. So that was a bit of a challenge. But I still try to stay close, stay what's the word, true to my roots, true to my upbringing. But
Mhm.
I will be honest in that there was the pressure to try and just be like everybody else. So I think the way that I started speaking, I started sounding like my peers, behaving a little bit like them as well. But in my heart of hearts, I knew, like, I'm a Christian, um, and I do want to continue living that kind of purpose-driven life. But there was that, oh, Deborah, just try and fit in, be like everyone else, talk like this, talk like that. But yeah, that wore off eventually. Didn't give in to peer pressure in the end, but yeah, as a young
Well,
person, it's
yeah,
tricky.
I'm going to just explore that a little bit more, if you don't mind, right? Just in terms of the fact that you said, you were trying to be like your peers. What were your peers like in terms of I'm making assumptions, so you can tell me if my assumptions are wrong. Making the assumption that your church was a predominantly black church.
Right.
What was your school like then, in by comparison?
Dominantly white. So we
Okay.
normally because my parents were very keen that we had a good education. So we
Hmm.
were in the village, and they were not fond of the schools there at all. They were like, we want our girls to have like a good academic foundation. So we came to Bromley. It was predominantly a white school at the time. And yeah, I just I wanted to be like them. They got to a point I think I was a bit confused about my own identity as a young person. Because I knew that of course I was black, but I behaved like or tried to behave like everyone around me. Um, what did that look like? It was kind of just trying to sound like them, trying to like the things that they like, watch the shows that they watch, be interested in the things that they were interested in. Um, I wouldn't say I just lost myself completely, but I didn't fully accept myself as a black young person because I
Hmm.
knew that there were stereotypes that were attached to young black people that I
Hmm.
didn't want to be associated with. So I tried to kind of detach myself from that. For instance, some of the young black people we were aware of were just like sometimes misbehaved or I don't know, weren't keen on performing well in school. It wasn't everybody, but those are some of the trends that you saw or that they'd be involved in, like I guess inappropriate behavior outside of school. And I was like, no. I need to be as far removed from this as possible. Yeah, to just be a good black person.
Okay, so you were living up to the ideal
Yeah.
kind of like image of what a good black person should be, and you didn't want to be. But it's kind of like a dissonance, to me anyhow, because on the one hand, you're at church and you're encountering good black people, right? And then you're at school and you're encountering some people who may not be behaving the way that they should be.
It was just a stereotype. That was the thing. It wasn't even that sometimes we saw that behavior often.
Hmm.
What maybe they saw on the news or what
Hmm.
they other schools. But it was just a stereotype. It wasn't that everybody was that way,
Hmm.
but that was something in the back of people's minds. And I was like, I don't want people to think, oh, Deborah is one of them. So
So so your way of countering that argument was to try to be like them as opposed to challenge the narrative. Am I right in saying that?
I think that was probably in my head, that was the easiest way to be that way. Just very proper, prim and proper.
So, all right. So from moving from that, then just thinking about you already alluded to the fact that your parents wanted you to have a really strong education. So, what were you like at school, other than trying to conform? What were you like academically? What were your subjects which you enjoyed doing? What support mechanisms were there in place for you to thrive?
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. I mean, what was I like in school? To be completely honest, I even though in the beginning, like I mentioned that we try to find our purpose in our faith,
Hmm.
it was hard because I knew how much value my parents placed on academics, what they had done to ensure that we had a good education. The whole reason we had uprooted our lives from one part of London to another was because of the schools that were in the area. So I knew how much value it held in their eyes. So I wanted to do as well as I could in school always. But it got to the point where I was attaching so much of my value and worth in how I was doing in school. So when I was performing well, it was yeah, I'm on top of the world, or I'm not performing well, yeah, I'm not feeling too good. So I didn't have a good relationship with failure at all, at
Hmm.
all performing or what underperforming looked like in my eyes. But as for subjects, I'm a strange one. That's why I've ended up doing this weird stuff with so many domains. So I loved STEM. I loved all the STEM subjects, the maths and science, and I excelled in those. But I also loved art and design. Art was that, I don't know, it was like a good pastime for me. And it was also something I really enjoyed in school. But I didn't know what kind of career or subjects I could study that would marry the two of them.
Mhm.
So but support systems, there were quite a few, even all the way from primary school upwards. You know, they'd have like some classes, not classes, but like clubs outside of school that you could join. They would sometimes during school, sometimes after school. And then I guess outside of school as well, I think because my parents again were so keen about education, they put us into like supplementary schools to ensure that we
Mhm.
were of the class and we weren't falling behind, and that we had a good understanding before it was even taught to us in the curriculum. So they were very, yeah, very, very instrumental in providing a good education that way as well. But yeah, I've grown to have a better relationship with education now. But when I was younger, it was not healthy at all.
Can I just investigate that little bit a bit more? Because I'm you say you didn't have a healthy relationship with education. Was it that you felt pressured to perform, and then if you didn't perform well, you then said, it's me, it's not that I'm just struggling with a subject, it's me? Was it
Yeah.
that kind of like internalization? I'm just trying to work out what it is.
Yeah, I think some of the pressure was, it's a bit indirect. I knew my parents were never like, you need to do well in school, you need to do well, you need to do well. But it was like, what was the word, the phrase my dad loved? Just strive for, I can't remember, like strive for excellence or something. So I can
Yeah.
imagine, strive to be the best that you can be the best that you can be. And that phrase in itself, to be the best that you can be,
Mhm.
is it's all about you and making sure that you're improving as a person over time. But
Mhm.
I interpreted it as just top of the class, best grades, this, that. And it was, yeah, it was a bit difficult. So when I did it, like you were mentioning, when I didn't do well, I took it personally. It was
Mhm.
just, oh, struggling. If I was struggling with something, I'm thinking, why can't I understand this? Why can't I pick it up? There's something not right with me, my own capacity. But it wasn't always the case. You can struggle and it's fine. But I didn't see it that way. I
But
didn't.
that comes with age, I think.
Uh,
I think that comes with age, where when you get through a situation and you find yourself that, well, I may not have thought I had done as well as I had, but I've still done okay. Yeah. So it might be how we start to, what perceptions we're giving young people about the value of the education. Not that the education isn't good, but it's not to the detriment of your own self-worth, of how you value yourself. So I'm just wondering then, so you said just a few minutes ago about the fact that you were torn between um, STEM subjects and art. So what was your thinking? What did you want to be? What did you want to do? And what was your family's reactions about those things?
when I was a bit young, I say like year 10, so around 14, 15,
Mhm.
uh, I think I'd concluded I wanted to become an architect because that was
Right.
the only career path I saw that married the two. So I had the bit of art and I had the bit of like the maths, the engineering. So I was like, okay, we can bring this together. Then I went to do like a 2 weeks work experience or 1 week work experience within an architectural firm. And I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. For me, I found it quite dry. It was too limiting. I was like, okay, this has brought together some interesting subjects, but it's too limiting. It's just buildings, it's just infrastructure. I can't limit myself to this kind of design. So I was thinking, oh no, we need to broaden this out a bit. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to study.
Mhm.
Uh, but thank God. So my mum had a colleague at work whose son wanted to go and study this interesting degree that was called innovation design engineering. And I was like, what on earth is that innovation design? She was telling me about it. This is what he wants to study. I thank God for that conversation she had, because it changed everything. So she called me, Deborah. Hello, go check out this course. It's like a two course between Imperial College and the Royal College of Art. So you've got the arts, you've got the arts and design, you've got the science. I was like, oh, okay. The trouble was it was a master's, and I was like, how can you can't just jump straight into a master's. So that was when I was in year 12, and obviously you're trying to narrow down what degree you want to go and pursue. So I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do in between? I need a stepping stone. I need the bachelor's. So that was when I was trying to find similar bachelors to that program, which is how I landed on product design. So that was kind of the roundabout, I guess the reverse engineering
Yeah.
of what I'm gonna study. And I found that product design was it was a good balance between both of these worlds I wanted to straddle.
That's really interesting, what you've just said there, in terms of the fact that you said you actually had your eyes set on a course that wasn't yet accessible to you because you had to take a preliminary step to get there. But your end objective was always beyond
Yeah,
where your next step was. Yeah.
exactly. Which is very I don't know, it sits differently with different people, but they're like, some people are like, oh, so you just needed a like a stepping stone, or you always had this in mind, like how did you know you're going to get onto the program? And I didn't. I absolutely didn't, but I just knew that I wanted something that would at least be similar to that end goal master. So if I didn't get onto it, I would have that bachelor's in something that I was
Mhm.
interested in. But yeah, it was always the goal to go there. So there was one lecturer when I was doing product design and lead who was saying, "Are you gonna stay and do the masters here?" I was like, "No, sorry, no, I'm not staying. Sorry." I really want. There's one I have in mind, and I'm really keen to get onto that program.
Not knowing that you had this vision in mind from when you
Yeah,
kind of like 13, or not 13,
yeah,
15.
like
So, yeah. So that's wonderful. That's really good to know. That one, about the fact that you had the vision to say that you wanted to get there. Did you tell anyone else? And was there anyone else who kind of like was helping to support you to get to where you wanted to? So did you have any mentors or anybody who you could speak to? Was there anyone within the college that you contacted to say, you know what, I'm interested in this course. How would I get onto it?
no, not at all. So the only person I was really talking to was my mum. I didn't even, now that I think about it, yeah, I didn't discuss this dream of mine to do the masters at Imperial and the Royal College about with anybody else really. It was not until I was actually filling out my application and I told a friend at uni about it, who then told me about this other course at Stanford that was very similar to that. So I also applied for that one. I was just trying I was like, oh, even better. Okay, let's give that one a go as well. So I did the whole like American Masters. They have this like GRE exam that you've got to sit before you can. It was the most long-winded Masters application. It was really good because it prepared me for the one at Imperial. But no, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't have any mentors. It was not until I got onto my, I think it was the when I was doing the masters that I realized that mentorship would actually be a really useful. I knew that people had mentors, but I didn't seek one out. I didn't know what they would do for me. So no mentors, just my mum.
Well, your mum was the greatest mentor
Yeah,
anyhow, so
yeah,
that's all good. So I'm just wondering, because even though you had objectives, you had
yeah.
a vision, etc. It's just how to ensure that you navigated the space, and got to the right place without having too many difficulties, if that makes sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
there were challenges. There were definitely
Mhm.
challenges. With that program, I think one of the things I really had to overcome was that here was why what people said in response to me wanting to do this program. So, for example, when I had to go and get my references from different lecturers to apply for the masters, some were saying things like, you know, Deborah, I don't really feel like you're built for this kind of environment. Um, London, studying in London at the Imperial College London is going to be very different to what it's like studying in Leeds. You need to be tough, you need to be this, you need to be that. It's very academically pressurizing. These lots of these people hadn't even studied there, so I don't know. I don't know. You know. One lecturer was like, "Yeah, I just don't think, I just don't think you'll afford this." And I've heard people say, that people have given those sort of responses to their goals and aspirations, but no one had ever told me this before. And I started thinking, huh, maybe they're right. Maybe this is reaching a bit too much. But one thing I know is I don't like being comfortable. If I stayed in Leeds, that's like a proper cushy comfort zone.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
not. Just you can't grow in that. You need discomfort to grow. So I was like, I can't stay here. I need to go So when I finally got in, I was like, okay, yeah, we're going. Sorry. I know you said I shouldn't, but I'm doing it anyway.
I love that tenacity of what you've just said, right? I love that, and being someone now at Imperial, it's saddening that other people have that viewpoint that it's really challenging, and they're almost telling you not to go to there, as opposed to saying challenge yourself and be the best that you can be. Yeah,
Well-meaning, because they're
yeah.
probably quite like a little timid undergrad. Like,
Mhm.
oh, you're gonna be eaten by sharks. But I knew myself. I knew that that was what I had my eyes set on for ages, and
Mhm.
it hadn't changed. The course structure hadn't changed, so I was like, yeah, let's do this, give it a go. And my mum
Mhm.
would say that, Deborah, no matter what happens on this degree or during this degree, the important thing, just pass and leave. You don't need to come out with flying colors. Just learn, pass, and leave. That's it. It's fine. Do your best. You know, you've got your degree from Leeds. It's good. You've got that first degree. That's important. Just pass and go. Absorb, and just leave and be happy. It's fine. So that was the goal. Just pass and leave.
This I need to speak to your mum, because your mum sounds like a woman of wisdom. I'm telling you.
She really is. She really is. I was assured. I was like, okay, it's true. Yeah, just give it
Mm,
a go. See how it goes. Uh,
mm.
Little did we know, we'd end up being sucked into the world of entrepreneurship. But there we go.
So let's go there then. So you're at Imperial, and your objective is to pass and leave. Pass and leave, right? Pass and leave, right? Okay. So what was it like having had those naysayers saying, nah, Deborah, that place is too tough for you. And you got the kind of like encouragement, just pass and leave, Deborah, just pass and leave, right? So what was it then? What was the lived experience that you had whilst you were here?
It was honest, it was shocking. So because of all of these preconceptions I had in my mind about the course, I was mentally prepared for like the most grueling academic experience ever. So I was ready. I was like, okay, cool. Come what may, let's go, let's go. And it was actually the first call we had. It was like an introduction to everybody on the course. And we were the first batch to do it fully like online in the first year because it was during COVID. So I'm logging on to Zoom. I've never used Zoom before. I was like, what is this software? And they're like, okay, we're going to go around the room. We're going to do introductions. And there were people who had studied at MIT. There were people who had studied at Stanford. I was like, Lordy Lord, here we go. But honestly, I was in shock because they started saying these things like, oh, like this IDE is what they abbreviated the Masters to, in Innovation Design Engineering IDE. Welcome to the IDE family. I was like, family? Why would you call it a family? Everyone was so lovely, so welcoming, so ready to kind of just hold your hand through the process, not hold your hand, but guide you through the process. And I was like, I was looking around like, what's going on? What's going on? This is not what I was prepared for. It was so it was so warm. Everyone's coming from such different backgrounds as well. So it wasn't like your original bachelors where you've all kind of done similar A levels or this, that, and the other. People are coming from business, people come from design, engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, all sorts, music even. And I was like, oh, this is very, very different. So even though it was difficult, um, in different ways, it wasn't that, unpleasant, hyper competitiveness that I was prepared for. Not at all. It was completely different. The moment I had IDE family, I was like, no, what's going on? What's going on? Everybody wants to help everybody. It's all about skill sharing, interdisciplinary, collaboration. I was very confused.
But
Uh,
I'm hoping confused in a good way.
but yeah, because I was like, this is what I signed up. What's going on?
So,
It was good. Really.
so give us I want to sign up to this course, man. I want to sign to tell me what was it on the course? Tell us a little bit about the course, and then how that's transitioned to where you are now.
Hmm. So IDE, how do you explain it? It's basically trying to find innovative ways to solve problems that have either existed for a long time or are new upcoming, and kind of putting on different hats to solve those, and always um, doing it from like a user-centered approach. So you're not
Mhm.
just trying to create a solution and throw it in people's faces. You're trying to build with people so that what you create is actually an adequate fit to their needs, or adequately addresses their needs. So that's kind of the basis of it. And we had different modules that would kind of teach you how to implement such solutions. So we had like a user-centered design project. We had like a very electronics focused one. We had it was a range. We had a dissertation to write as well about like a design topic for yourself. And because it was this bridge, this marrying between the Royal College of Art and Imperial, you had both kind of the arts and design modules on one side and then the technology focused ones on the other. So it was brilliant. It was really, really brilliant. And and yeah, I think it was the group projects that won it for me. And that was when I was kind of being exposed to this entrepreneurial ecosystem that Imperial had. I was so laser focused on that master's. That was kind of the only page I read. I like leaving school, actually joining the degree. I didn't really read anything else about the college. I had no idea that they had this huge startup ecosystem. No clue. So I came in and I'm learning that people have finished this program and they've gone on to build projects that started when they were on the degree. And I was like, no way. So, oh, this is where businesses start. Okay, I get it now. Like, I had no clue. And so seeing people like I don't know if you've heard of this gravity sketch. It's like a tool that you use to
Yeah.
write things. Yeah. Incredible. So the founders were also on this course. The founders of like the Thai Collective were on this course. Just amazing products. NotPlot as well, that edible seaweed thingy that you
Yeah.
can. All of the founders were coming out of it. I was like, oh, I didn't know. So I was like, wow, doing a startup and being a founder is actually a viable career path for people. This is incredible. And that was the start of my exploration.
So
Um,
had you, sorry, I don't mean to cut you, but had you thought about starting up your own business, being a businesswoman at all?
that was like my worst nightmare. I was like, there's no way. No, I'm not I'm not starting a business. Because I think because of my personality or um yeah, or my demeanor, should I say, I've never seen myself people have first of all, I don't think people saw me as a person who would do that. And I never put myself in positions to of like leadership or anything like that ever. I had a coffee before I started the second year of my master's because it was a 2-year program. I
Mhm.
went out for coffee with a friend, and she was like, Deborah, what do you want to do after you finish this master's program? And I was saying, I don't really know. I probably want to work as a design consultant in a design consultancy, just like bringing other people's projects to life. She's like, wouldn't it be so nice if you just had your own business where you can like employ who you want, you can do have your own vetting process. I was like, no. I was like, absolutely not, no. She was like, it would be so nice. You have like full autonomy over the development of the business. I was like, I don't like the sound of that at all. No way. So no, I never had that in mind. I didn't want to be a businesswoman. I watched too much Apprentice and Dragon's Den. I saw the people on there. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. No, 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 I'm fine, thank you. So no, I didn't want to.
Okay, so tell us about this journey then. So this was the end of your first year, you had this conversation. So
Yeah.
moving into your second year, had you already started to engage in the entrepreneur activities at the university or at this stage, or was it part of your second year curriculum or that you started engaging in those things?
Yeah, so in the first year they did have these like sessions on like the like basics of building a business. So there was one lady who ran these out of class sessions on like business modeling using the business model canvas, that sort of stuff. And I joined every now and then, but I was like, oh no, this is a bit dry. I'm not to be rude. I personally I didn't find it interesting.
Mhm.
I was like, no, not for me. But I did know, I heard of the Venture Catalyst Challenge and that some people on our course had gotten into that and we're kind of doing that at the same time as the program. And I thought, oh, wow, that's a lot of work. I don't think I'm going to do that. No, I'm fine. And so that I was aware of all of these entrepreneurial kind of things or ventures that people were getting involved in. But no, I didn't involve myself in that in year one. Then year two came, which is where we had one solo project, one group project. And that group project is the one where like 90% of the startups that have come out of my program have like
Been born.
have been born,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Born. So there was that kind of pressure, not pressure, but that um kind of awareness at the back of your mind that this is the project where startups are born. This is the project where startups are born. But I don't think as a group I wasn't too keen on developing anything that would grow into a business. I wasn't interested in that. Then the project kicked off. And I think our first grades came in and they were really good for the group project. We're like, okay, this is lovely. Then people started saying things like, you guys should consider taking this forward. This has legs. Like, see where you can push it. I was still shaking my head like, no, this is just a group project. We're going to start it as a group project, finish it as a group project, and leave. That was the plan. Like,
In the back
oh,
of your mind, your mum's still saying, pass
yeah,
and leave,
start and
pass
leave.
and leave.
So I was thinking, no, I quite like a stable job. Design consultancy is great. That's the goal. Because that was, as a product designer, that was like everyone's goal, become a design consultant. So me too, I was like, yeah, become a design consultant, go work at Frog or Pentagram or something. Cool. Um, but then this opportunity to enter the project into Venture Catalyst Challenge came up, and we're thinking, okay, maybe we should do it. Maybe we should see how it goes. So we all decided that, okay, yeah, we'll go for it. We'll enter it, and it's the biggest entrepreneurial competition at Imperial. Like, winning prize is £30,000. I was like, oh, wow, £30,000. It's huge. So we worked on that. We entered it into the competition, and we got selected as part of the cohort, the 25 teams on it, and I was like, oh, this is really lovely. And then they started saying, okay, it's a 7-week program. We're going to give you masterclasses on the fundamentals of building a business. I was like, this is really, really fascinating. So then the kind of cog started turning. Thinking, okay, maybe this is actually a plausible thing for me to get my teeth into. We're working through the program. I'm still thinking, no, this is it's a good opportunity. It's good to learn things, but I don't. First of all, I don't think we're going to win because we've only just started. This is literally it's a 3 months project. No, we're not going anywhere. Anyway, so we of the 25 teams, there were like 5 teams per track. We then had like a heats round before the final. So the five healthcare startups went to go and pitch. I was doing the pitch for our team, taking one for the team. The pitch was awful, absolutely horrendous. I felt so bad because obviously you're carrying the team on your shoulders, and I was like, "Oh, Deborah, look at you. What have you done?" So I pitched. First of all, I was so nervous, and I was trying to cry. I tried to cram it all the night before. Oh, it wasn't good. So I was like, I'm so sorry, guys. I've messed it up. I'm really like big apologies. I felt really awful. That same night, the results came out. They're like, we're glad to let you know you've won your track, and you're going to be progressing to the finals. I thought there must be a mistake. There's no way on God's green earth that we've gotten through to the finals. So then the finals were, I think, a few weeks later. There were 5 teams left. So to present, we presented at the Venture Catalyst Challenge, and we won. And I was gobsmacked. I was like, "There's absolutely what? How has this happened?" We won it. We presented, did the whole Q&A, and we won. We won the Venture Cash Challenge. So that was the first kind of cash injection that we had as well. We had incorporated the business at that point because it was a requirement for the program, and that was where, yeah, we kicked off. We kicked off. We finished the masters and then went full time in July. So that competition was in March. We went full time in July. I'd
So,
still to this day, I don't know how we won. I really don't know how we
so,
won.
so, so you may not have, even though you were working on it and didn't see the potential within your own project, right? Clearly, there was a lot of potential there. Give
Yeah.
us an idea, because we've spoken about the process, but you haven't told us what the idea was that you were pitching to everyone. What was the idea?
So we were
Or
presenting.
is it trade secret if you
Oh,
repeat?
no, no, no. The idea of DotPlot, it is a tool that helps people to check themselves for early signs of breast cancer from home. As I say it now, it holds so much potential, but I didn't see it because I was looking through it from my own lens as a person who had no I don't have an MBA. I don't have any like leadership experience, and I was using that to determine the value of of this project. But anyway, it's a tool that helps people check for early signs of breast cancer, and it's like a handheld, not like it's a handheld device that links to an app and guides you through your self check step by step. So you use the app to build a map of your upper chest. That's then divided into a grid that forms the basis of your self check. And we guide you through it, flashing on the points that you need to apply pressure to. And then once you've done that, you go on to the next point until you've covered your whole chest. And then we compare subsequent readings to highlight any abnormalities that are developing within your breast tissue. And we'll flag them and encourage you to go and see your GP if need be.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
So it's almost like it's like a little self-help guide.
yeah. I mean,
And making go on.
no, yeah, it's a self-checking device. It is a
Yeah,
medical device. Um, essentially like a blood pressure monitor or pregnancy
yeah,
test. Just before it's like a pre-screening tool before you go in to
yeah.
get.
And so you're monitoring yeah, you're monitoring and getting accurate data so
Yeah.
that you're one step ahead, as it were, for earlier diagnosis. So
Mhm.
what stage are you guys at now? Because you started, was it July last year or July 2022?
2022. Yeah, it was July
Right.
20.
Hmm.
So between now and then, so we started off as two co-founders. Since then we've now got there's four of us full time and then one part time. So we've grown the team. We have developed the app. Kind of version one is ready. You can't download it yet, but we want to do a like a little test in April with about 300 to 400 users just to test its usability. We also did our first in-person usability test last year in March. So we had about over 80 women come in to try out the device in person, gave us really good feedback. That was incredible. I was like, people
Hmm.
actually came to try this thing, trying to try this thing. So we like hired a space near London Bridge and lots of women came in, gave really good feedback. And we've just been like iterating and developing since then with the hopes to launch 2026 because it is a medical device, all of these
You have
regulatory,
to,
controls,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
check. But that's the goal for
So
now.
tell me, do you still think that this doesn't have legs? Do you
Oh,
still do you still think that I just got to pass and go? Pass
no,
and
no, no.
go.
Oh, the thing is now, oh, it's so funny. I feel like what's that movie? Parasite. We don't, yeah. Once you're in Imperial, you don't leave really. I mean, you're once you're in, you're in. We're tied down. We've even committed ourselves to the entrepreneurs pledge. So
Mhm.
we're also pledged.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just tied to Imperial. So no, we can't pass and go. We are pass and stay. Pass and stay. But no, it definitely has legs. I see. I think I saw the potential after that competition. I was like, oh my goodness, people actually
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, see so much value in this. Let's see what we can do, how far we can take it. So yeah, I want to take it all the way. I want to see it in people's homes, people catching those early signs nice and quick. That's the core um kind of purpose for us. It's really empowering people to be able to have this autonomy over their breast health because right now there's just you've got pamphlets, you've got tutorials, and they're very confusing and
Yeah.
they don't offer like tailored guidance for your
Yeah.
self-check. That's what makes DotPlot so special is because it's a bespoke model of yourself that you can see on your own phone. And it's guiding you through your self-check on your body and
Yeah.
comparing it to your body each month, not
Yeah.
just the woman on a pamphlet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's such a brilliant idea. From the first time I read about it, and I just thought this is such a brilliant idea. And it's to go the one thing to go from an idea to making it a reality. Yeah. So lots of people have good ideas, but it gets it's what's that saying? It ends up in the graveyard of brilliant ideas. But you guys you've actually been able to now make it, or you're making it a reality, which I think is so brilliant. Um, I've got a couple more questions. I should open it up and see if there's anybody else who has any questions. If there are, just raise your hands and I'll come to them. But if not, I will continue on asking a few more questions. So, what would you say has been the biggest challenge in the overall development of this process that you've been going through? What do you wish you had known at the start of this process?
Hmm. I think to be honest, in the first couple of between like 2022 and I guess the end of last year, funding hadn't really been a huge challenge for us. We were really, really blessed. Like for instance, in the competitions that we were winning, and the grants that were coming in. But I think towards the end of last year, we realized that our runway wasn't that long anymore.
Mhm.
And our goodness, what happens now? But I mean, going back to that original story I was telling about, like being raised in the church, I think my faith, my belief is that, God has started this journey that we're on, and he'll take it to completion. So that's that. So anyway, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, how are we going to raise money? That's been a challenge, definitely. Now, I think because you've exited that, you've just that fresh grad stage. There's so many opportunities and things for fresh grads. We've kind of passed that now. So we have to look to other, funding opportunities. So that's been a challenge, but I mean, we've navigated that fine, thankfully. We just got a grant yesterday. That was really good news. So we're very, very relieved. Thank God for that. So that's been one. And of course the technical challenges. So originally with DotPlot, we wanted to see if we could use machine learning to learn about how people are placing the device on their body. So one thing to mention is that you need to place that device on the same point at every month to make sure that you're checking and comparing the accurate point.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. So that repeatability is crucial. If you don't have that, then it's redundant. So that
Mhm.
was one piece we really wanted to have resolved. And we just weren't getting the accuracy that we required. Like you need that millimeter accuracy. So like
Mhm.
fix this. So that was kind of the purpose of that user test we did, to trial different prototypes and see which one is going to get us to the most accurate results. So that was a big technical challenge to
Mhm.
overcome. We've sorted that out now. And now it's all about refining this detection capability and making sure we're bringing down that false positive and false negative rate as low as possible. So that's the goal at the moment.
Wow. Well, I'm
I was like,
amazed. No,
oh!
no, no.
With all that we've had to learn over the couple of years, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. But yeah,
No,
yeah,
absolutely. I just think as you're saying it and you're thinking about from a scientific perspective in terms of that reproducibility, that consistency of results, so that the data, that quality control, making sure that the quality is there. Because if the quality isn't there, then the data is meaningless.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, and the dedication that you have to put in order to be that meticulous, right? Oh, it can't be a millimeter off, or because you're going to have a different reading, you're not comparing like with like.
Exactly. It's yeah,
It-
that's it. Education. That's what this is. It's actually we're really, really having to commit a lot to this. But one thing that I think from the beginning we were always very cautious of is making sure we don't burn out in this journey. Like we've heard of lots of founders who started and who couldn't finish.
Mhm.
And I don't want to be pouring all of this in and not be able to enjoy the
Mhm.
fruits of our labor. So
Mhm.
yeah, wellness and balance and taking breaks, all of that is so crucial for us. It's a long journey. Like I'm telling
Mhm.
you, I've mentioned the launch is probably going to be 2026. Like
Mhm.
between now, that's a long way away. And we need
Yeah.
to be working at a sustainable pace.
Yeah.
About
And
being dedicated, but also being cautious with how much time we're spending on it.
yeah. I've just two more questions because I know you're a busy young woman, right? So I'm just thinking then. So it seems to me that the it seems to me that part of what you've said is about the fact that that product design degree which you did has been so useful in it's kind of like you were positioned for a time such as this, yeah, where you'd be developing your own product and taking it through the market, as it were. What about like the business acumen? Where have you, because it's one thing having the idea and you kind of like alluded to the funding, but funding is only one part of a business model. So how have you what training or what have support have you been given to know the business side as well?
Yeah, that's great. To be honest, Imperial College London, wow, their support is invaluable. So from that competition that we did. So that was like a 7-week crash course on, you know, startup crucial, like all the rudimentary things. But then they also have this mentorship scheme that you can be involved in if you're part of a startup. We also joined the MedTech Super Connector Accelerator, also run partly by Imperial. So all of these schemes that we've kind of tapped into, the mentorship has been really, really useful as well. And it was just learning from people who are either like a few steps ahead of you or who have made their own businesses, IPOs, all of that shabam. So lots of people within just the Imperial ecosystem who we are learning from constantly. So one of our mentors like Jenny Chong, the other one is was Khan Puneet. Just lots and lots of people around Imperial that we've gained knowledge from. And also just attending different events as well, learning from how people have navigated their own startup challenges has been useful. But to be honest, just making use of the ecosystem has been the main thing. The enterprise lab, so useful. You can reach out to their experts in residence anytime, I guess whenever you need that kind of support. So they have been so crucial in giving us that business knowledge that we so desperately require because
Yeah.
neither of us come from a business background. Even just now, we're setting up a collaboration with some of the MBA students to conduct some market research for us because I don't know I don't know about market research. So yeah, they've been so useful. Like this, the wealth of resource that sits within that campus been huge. And of course, we're also incubated at the Royal College of Art, so we get a lot of mentorship and coaching from them as well. And yeah, just access to so many of their experts and specialists in business too. So both ends, both colleges have been really
And this,
wonderful.
you know what? I'm, I'm, I'm so proud of your
Oh,
achievements. No, seriously, I am so proud. And you know what I really like about it is that in the way that you've described your journey, it's never been a journey that one person could have taken. One person could have taken it by themselves, but
mm,
the way in which you've described it, it's always been interdisciplinary. It's always been collaborative. It's always been about the power of the collective over the power of the individual. And
yeah.
that's how you've been able to thrive, to thrive, not survive, to thrive within this, as you put it, within this ecosystem, you know?
So true.
Uh,
It takes so much more than the founding team to build a business. Like they may be the face of the business, but
yeah,
there's so many people upholding
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah, it's been a privilege to because it gives you such an excuse to just speak to people you would never otherwise have a conversation with. I love
yeah,
it. I love it so much.
yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna ask my final two questions now. No one's put their hands up, so it's just me and you. Right. So the final two questions are, um, what advice would you have given to your younger self? Yeah. Um, and the second part, what do you think your younger self would say, wow? What do you think they would say, wow?
Oh, advice to younger self. I think I would have just told myself to relax a little bit. I was a bit too, I don't know. I was too eager to grow up. And then once I grew up, I was like, why? Why were you so so ready to just exit like teenhood or whatever? So I think I would have told myself to just embrace the journey a little bit more.
Mhm,
I was very keen to just get up and going. I'm the firstborn. I was like, set a
mhm,
good example, this, that. But I don't think I enjoyed my childhood. I really did. But I think I was too future focused. Just enjoy it as it's
mhm,
happening, as it's unfolding. And yeah, I take advantage of more of the things that are around you. So, for example, like the mentorship that you mentioned, I definitely would have said, please
mhm,
get a mentor. I think somebody to guide me through that problem I had with, being so scared of failing or trying and not doing as well as I wanted. Trying things and even if it doesn't work out, knowing that it's fine. Someone to guide you through all of that would have been really good. So that's what I tell my younger self. And then, what would my younger self say now? I think I would, if I saw myself now as a younger person, I'd be absolutely gobsmacked. Like, what are you, what, how did this happen? Um, and I think I would say, wow, at how well all of my interests have come together. Something I didn't mention, like, you asked me about the subjects that I loved. The ones that I really, science I really loved was like biology, physics, maths, art, design, like those are five main ones. And my career now just covers all of them. It blows my mind. Like, how does this happen? It's such a privilege. I'm really, really grateful. Because I could in my mind I couldn't picture a career path that would bring all of them together. I couldn't picture it. And
Yeah.
now that's exactly what we're up to. So I'm very happy. Very grateful.
Deborah,
Very
this isn't the last time that we're going to be in discussions because
it's
I
all good.
because I'm going to, you're an inspiration to me. I tell you, I think what you've achieved has been in such for such a young woman. Um, what you've achieved in the time that you've done it and your trajectory. I know you said earlier on you wouldn't be just a few minutes ago you said about you're not going to be looking too far ahead in the future, but I think part of that futuristic endeavors has helped you to be where you are right now, because
Yeah.
had you not had that vision when you were kind of like 14 to say I wanted to be on this course, right? That was a vision that you had to achieve to be where you are now. Yeah. So it's just wonderful to hear your story. Absolute inspiration.
Thank you so much.
I'm just sad that we have to stop the conversation.
Uh,
Um, but what I'm gonna say is there are other events. I will be in contact because I really do want you to share that experience with so many other young Black women. Um, because I know that you would inspire them to know that they can achieve, know
Yeah.
that you are achieving. I don't want to put all that pressure on, but you now have become a mentor. And what we
Mm.
need to do is get you some more mentors going up and up. So those who are a little bit further ahead so that you can go and be the powerhouse that you're supposed to be.
Oh, wow,
All
thank
right.
you so much.
You're absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to just share with everyone what's going to be happening next week, and then if anybody would like to stay behind for a little conversation, they can. So next week we're going to have um, Dane um, Dane Buchanan Kelly, and he is a lecturer. Well, he's a group leader at Cardiff University, and he's investigating the synaptic health and function over time in identifying early modifiable therapeutic targets. So kind of similar to what we've just heard, but in a slightly different way. He works in Parkinson's disease, and so he will be our guest next week. And if you have missed any of the previous conversations, then please go to our YouTube channel, which is tinyurl.com/belonging dash IAO. And you'll be able to hear the other stories that other individuals who have shared their experiences of gaining their sense of belonging. Just to give a shout out, one of the people who we've interviewed, you can just see him here, Dr. Jason Arday, actually Professor Jason Arday. I saw him on Question Time last night. I'm just going to say,
he was beautiful. I love the guy. I was glued to him. Every time he opens his mouth, it's just amazing.
all I was going to say, we had him here first, right? So we're future leaders here, absolutely. So thank everyone for sharing their stories. And what I'd like to just say is keep finding that place for you to belong. Keep striving, because you know what? We all belong. And so have a good weekend, and we will see you again next week. Take care.